access Google Drive right when you open your Chromebook. You can go into the left-hand corner, and if you've opened Google Drive, it'll appear. If not, you can just type out the word Drive. Another option that you have is that you could just open up Chrome and type in drive.google.com, and that will take you there too. But I do think it's kind of faster or easier to just go in the bottom left-hand corner and type Drive. Okay, so a few things to learn about your Google Drive. Up here at the top, if you're not really careful about naming conventions and where you're storing things, which I'm highly recommending that you do get really good about folders and stuff in Google Drive. But up here at the top, you have a place to search for any of your documents. So your naming of files and folders becomes really important. So instead of naming it something funny, you've got to really think about naming things that are going to make it easy for you to find them. Additionally, if you remember at least that you made it as a presentation or you made it as a doc, you can then filter your search and help you find those items. Off to the left-hand side, you have all of these navigation items. So right now I'm just in my Drive, but I have the ability to mark things as a priority item. I can go in and see things that I've shared with other of my peers, maybe a teacher or something. I can see recent items, things that I've most likely looked at within the last few days or something. And then if something is a document that I use all the time, I have the ability to star it or favorite it, and it will show up here. Your trash is emptied about every 30 days. So if you delete something on accident, you will always be able to go back and grab it and move it back into your Drive if you need to. Up at the top of your Drive, you have this area where it shows you all of your recent or suggested items that you might want to use or to work on next. Then everything is alphabetical, and it starts with folders, and then it eventually will get into documents. And I have a lot in my Google Drive, but eventually it will get to documents that are outside of folders. You'll also notice that some of my folders have different colors attached to them. And you'll also notice sometimes I'll put like a period in front of something, or I'll put an emoji in front of something to move it up in my alphabetical system in Google Drive. You also have the ability to switch it from the grid view to the list view. So this is grid. I was just looking at it in list view. So grid just shows you larger icons basically. You also in the top right-hand corner, have the ability to open up the information. So you can click on an individual document and it will show you the last time, like let's say you're working on a group project. It will show you, let's see, I'll open this one. It will show you like the last time someone touched it other than you. You also can see activities of different documents within your Drive to see, again, when someone has maybe looked at something or edited something, which I don't have that on very often. I often have that hidden. So what I want you to do first is we're just going to create a few things and test some stuff out. So I'm going to go up here to New, and I'm going to go ahead and create a folder, and I'm just going to call it Test Folder, and then hit the Create button. Once it does that, it will highlight that test folder for me. And I just want to show you when I click on it, when I right click on it, it gives me more options. So if you've never learned how to change colors before, right clicking on a folder will allow you to change the color. So let's go ahead and change our test folder to red. And then I'm going to go ahead and double click on that folder to go into it before I create my document. So what I am suggesting to you is that you should always go into a folder. Hopefully it's a folder for a subject area or a teacher. And then it might even have more folders in there for that. So for instance, if I had a language arts teacher, I might have a language arts teacher folder. It will probably just say language arts. And then within that, I might have a folder for the current essay we're writing or the book I'm reading or something like that. So folders within folders. But I'm going to go into this test folder first. I'm going to go back up to New, and I'm going to create a Google Doc. Now, because I went to Google Drive first, this document is now in the right folder. So I'm just going to type this out as test doc. So if I go back, I can see that my test doc is in my test folder. Okay, so to start with, let's go ahead and talk about titles. So I am calling this my test doc. I'm going to highlight this and I want to play around with the font a little bit. So I can increase my font size. I also can go right next to where it says Arial and click on normal text, and I can go here to title. And that will make it nice and big as well. Now, if I would like to play around with fonts, I have a couple of options, and then right here at the top it says more fonts. So if I wanted to, I could go in and find even more fonts that look interesting. So right now it's sorting by popularity, but maybe I want to see things that look like handwriting. So for instance, this looks like a fun font. I don't currently have it in my library because it's not blue with a check mark next to it. So if I click that, now it's in my library for Google Docs and slides and everything. I'm just going to click OK. And now I see that my test doc font has been changed to that Pacifico font. Okay, maybe I want to center my title. So I'm going to click the center align. And then I'm going to press return.
The thing we're going to do is to click on File, and we're going to go all the way down towards the bottom where it says Page Setup. So this is where you can change your document from portrait to landscape. Some might say from hot dog to hamburger. So let's go ahead and change it to landscape. And then down here, you can also change the page color. So go ahead and pick a page color. I'm going to go with blue. Another thing to point out too is over to the side, you have your margins. And I think that Google Doc has 1-inch margins. As you can see, I end up making it a lot smaller and set that as my default 0.2 all the way around because for the most part, I don't print things anymore. And that 1-inch margin is really helpful when you're trying to print things out. So if a teacher asks you to do an assignment and you know you're going to print it, then you can definitely keep it as a 1-inch margin. But if you're turning it in on Canvas, odds are it's not going to get printed. So if you change it to this 2-inch margin, then that just allows you to have more space on the paper. So I always keep it as at 0.2 like you see here. So now as I click OK, I can see that my paper has been turned into hamburger or landscape. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and in the first cell, which is right here, this is the box, the first box or the first cell, we're going to write out the sentence, a good memory from elementary school. And you are going to have to type an answer to this. So I want you kind of thinking about that. But I'm going to go ahead and go back to my test doc. And in the very first cell, I'm going to write a good memory from elementary school. And the next thing that we're going to do is add below that a picture of one of our very favorite things to do in school. This is a picture of people doing the percussion using pool noodles in music class, but you know, maybe you love PE class. Sure. So I'm just going to move my cursor down to that cell below where we typed our sentence, and I'm going to go into insert and I'm going to go into image, and I'm actually going to search the web straight here in my Google Docs. And so I might search for, I really like the music class idea, but maybe we say elementary PE class and just see if there's any images. Oh, do you guys still do parachute day? I always loved that. That was so much fun. So these are all really good pictures. Parachute day was, in fact, one of my favorites, but I also really liked any day where we got to do kind of like dodgeball stuff. So I'm going to insert that. And the next thing I want you to do is, this is where we like make a merged cell. So that just means I'm going to take this row up top here and I'm highlighting them. So I'm dragging my cursor over and then I'm going to go up here to format and then down here to where it says table, and I'm going to say merge cells. And that is just going to give me one long, big option so that I can answer this question. I'm going to maybe fill this in with a color. Let's go for like, I don't know, a dark red. Does that look weird? I think that's fine. Now, something else you can do when you change colors like this is to change your font color. So maybe over the top of the red, instead of black, I'm going to type my answer with white. So I might say, I really loved when we got to do the science experiment and grow plants. And then also when we had a pumpkin that we let rot in the classroom so we could see the life cycle or something. I don't know. Now, if I wanted to make that a little bit bigger, I'm going to highlight my font. And I can come right up here where it says 11 font size. And I'm going to hit the plus sign and say increase font. And maybe I want to do that over here too. I think it's good to try and like play around with things and see how they look good. Maybe I change it to that same Pacifico font so that I can tell that it's something different. Maybe I want it centered in the cell. All sorts of good things for you to do here. Now, another thing I want you to do is we're going to talk about hyperlinks. So we all had to do brain boosts quite a bit, right? So let's go ahead and do 2 different brain boost videos, and I'm going to show you what it means to do some hyperlinks. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a new tab, and I'm going to go to the student bookmark page and then go into the brain boost page. So I want you to take a little bit of time and go through here and find one of your favorite brain boost activities that you've done in the past while you were at elementary school. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, the butter song. Now, in order for me to add it, I'm going to have to click on the 3 jelly beans or dots in the upper right-hand corner and say copy link. And I'm going to come back and I'll put the title down, and then I just have to paste it. Now, whenever you place a link, if you press the space bar after you paste it, and to paste, if you don't already know, you can go up to edit and go paste, but you can also hit Control V on your Chromebooks. So I will paste it in, and then once I paste it in, if I hit the space bar, it turns it in automatically to a hyperlink so that when I click on it, I can then open up that specific video. But another way that you can do hyperlinks, which I think looks better, and it's kind of the elevated version of a hyperlink, is to go ahead and type out the word that you want to hyperlink, highlight that word, and then if you go into... and it's up here too. You could go into insert link or insert and go all the way down here to link and then paste your YouTube video link and say apply. And to me, this just looks so much better. It does the exact same thing as the one over here, but it looks better. So I want you to try both of those options. And I'm going to go back and just double check that we've done all the things that we're supposed to do. Make sure you take the time to write out a reflection of one of the good memories you have of doing an activity in elementary school. You're going to use that for another activity later, so it's good for you to start brainstorming.
Now, my whole point in doing that is to show you that there is a lot that you can create in Google Docs. It doesn't have to just be a simple Google Doc with an essay on it. So everything that you see on the screen in front of you are things that we just learned or practiced how to do. So think outside the box when you're working in Google Docs and think about ways that you can actually use all the things that you learned in any of the Google suite of products. Actually, all the stuff we learned today you can do in Google Docs, you can do in Google Slides, and you can do some of the same things in Google Sheets even. So as you finish up your document today, go back into Canvas and you're going to turn in what you finished along with me today.